Welcome to Halftime Blues, a football show hosted by a money-hungry Chelsea fan and a plastic Man City fan.
We talk about the beautiful game with guests from all over the world.
Hey guys, welcome back to Halftime Blues. It has been a while. We're talking about Project Restart, but this is our Project Restart. Project Restart Halftime Blues edition. My name is Sean. I'm a Chelsea fan, and my co-host is Josh. He's a Man City fan. Say hello to all the people, Josh.
What's up?
What's up? What's up? Oh, it's good to be back. It's been a while, but I'm pretty excited to be back. How about you?
Yeah, dude. Very, very excited. Excited to be recording our podcast again, but also obviously for the Premier League to be back. Alas, Liverpool will win the league, but it's good. It's good to see the boys in blue kicking the ball around again.
That's true. It's good to see players out on the pitch unless you're an Arsenal fan. But we'll get into that later.
Well, we'll get into it right now. In fact,
Okay.
we'll touch on the Man City Arsenal game in a touch, but first, we've got to talk about that controversy with the Aston Villa and Sheffield United game.
Yes.
Dude, I don't know if you've seen the clip, but the ball went over the line and goal line technology failed to work. But not only goal line technology, VAR. Where was that?
VAR. I feel like we say that every single football game, though. VAR. Where was it?
So, I mean, I'd be lying if I said I watched that game, but I obviously saw that controversy all over like Instagram. But who actually would have got the goal? I don't even know that.
So Sheffield, from my understanding, Sheffield, I also didn't watch it. I also saw the pictures of the goalkeeper with the ball in his arms, clearly behind the post.
Yeah.
And so from my understanding, it's Sheffield because they're the ones who are very upset. And it was a free kick in the 41st minute. And the way that the goalkeeper grabbed the ball, apparently there were defenders on top of him to his left, to his right. Sorry, and his body was over the ball or above the ball. So basically none of the cameras or the technology could pick up from any side that there was an actual ball
That's
that crossed over. But to me, this is where VAR needs to step in. This is where, and obviously it's Mike Dean who is the referee, and he's a complete idiot and doesn't know what to do half the time. But he should be like overriding everything, because this is the problem for me. 0-0 match for Sheffield United, who are on the cusp of getting into Europe.
Yeah.
Potentially could even push, if they pushed hard enough, could get into Champions League.
And they've been on form.
That's a long stretch.
They've been on form this year.
Yeah. So they got denied 2 points. 3 points, sorry. Well, no, 2, sorry, because they got the draw, never mind.
Yeah.
But at the same time, for Villa, they gained a point where they could have lost it, and they're battling relegation.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
So on both sides of the tables, it's a big call to mess up.
That's crazy. And it was such a clear-cut call that even if VAR wanted to hand it to the on-field ref for a decision, Mike Dean could have gone to the sidelines, watched it on that little VAR playback screen, which I believe they have now. And he would have clearly seen with his 2 eyes that it was 100% a goal. That's crazy, though, that goalkeeper hacked the system.
I know. But it is Mike Dean at the same time. Like he is like the most useless Premier League referee. You knew like nothing was going to come of it. But I feel very sorry for Sheffield United. I won't lie.
So on to the juicy bits. Obviously, Man City played Arsenal last night at the Etihad, and the name's fitting because it was hella empty.
I saw a picture. It was a meme of they've got those new screens with all the
Zoom
fans
calls
that zoom in, and I think 4 or 5 of the screens were like empty. So the joke was City can't even fill up their screens.
I know,
with some of their fans.
I got tagged in all the memes. It was wonderful. I mean, for goodness sakes, just get the damn Zoom calls right, people. You're making us look terrible here.
That's true.
So before we talk about the actual football, what was a weird sensation was seeing 0 fans in the crowd. And yes, I'm used to not seeing a lot of fans in the crowd because the stadium's always empty. Shush in the comments. It was completely empty. In fact, they even had covers over the seats. And
which worked. I think it worked.
Yeah, which was cool.
I'd rather have that than empty seats.
But there was still crowd noise over through the TV. So I'm not sure if that's a post-production thing for the broadcast, or if it's actually being rung out in the stadium for the players as well, which will be weird to me. Like, that's super weird.
Yeah.
But it was. You know what? Let's talk about the game. City were pretty on top of it. I was actually really impressed. We started a little bit slow, and Arsenal had a few counter-attacking opportunities, which they squandered. I feel like a Leicester would have actually taken a little bit more advantage than they did even. And anyway, just before halftime, Arsenal had 2 injuries to their centre-backs, and so third choice was good old David Luiz. What a gift.
Agent David.
What a gift to football.
Oh, yes.
De Bruyne went in for a cross. Sterling made a nice diagonal run in behind the line, and David Luiz could have cleared it, but he tried to knee it or get it on his thigh.
Don't know what he did.
And he basically just let the ball prop up behind him where Sterling was. And credit to Sterling, he kept his eye on the ball and he put his laces through it. Yeah, and Leno made some decent saves before that, but he wasn't going to stop that. No. So then we went into halftime 1-0. And
so you just knew it was going to happen. I'm sorry, when I saw David Luiz come on, I was like, something's going to happen.
Well, actually, Sean messaged me. Sean messaged, he's like, you guys are about to score, and 5 minutes later we scored. You scored. It was pretty good footy. We were passing the ball around quite nicely. We were getting it back very quickly. To be honest, can I be perfectly honest with you? I expected more, and I'll tell you why. Because
from City?
No, from Arsenal. Because Mikel Arteta was literally Pep's right-hand man for the last 2 seasons that City have won the league. He should know the ins and outs of how we're going to play. And so I expected him to counter it. But I think it came down to the fact that his players are pretty crap. And
they are, though. He didn't have Pepe, Lacazette, Ozil wasn't even in the squad. Very interesting. Though they do have some really good young players.
But Pepe and Lacazette were on the bench, so I'm not sure why they didn't start. But Aubameyang was making good runs that he wasn't getting passes to. So anyway, second half, literally in the first few minutes of the second half, some nice play down the right-hand side by City, a couple headers. Riyad Mahrez chests it off of his chest and runs down the side. Basically gets a half a yard on David Luiz, and David Luiz tugs him down in the box like a real chop.
Oh, yeah.
And receives a red, not only giving away a penalty, he gets a red. He was looking pretty bleak about the red, but you know what? The first feeling I got was just complete sorry for this man. I felt really, really bad because he literally was the reason 2 goals went in and he got himself sent off. Maybe his sending off helped the team. I don't know.
No, it is. Apparently he's averaging giving away a penalty every 6.95 games for Arsenal.
Wow.
That is ridiculous.
That's crazy. So anyway, KDB stepped up. It looks like he's got penalty responsibilities because I don't know if you remember before lockdown.
Yeah. You guys can't put it away.
We could not slot a penalty. He took one against Real Madrid at the Bernabeu in the Champions League, and he slotted that, which was good. And I thought, please, just let him take it every single time. And he hit a really great penalty. And then from there on, we just dominated them. They didn't really have much of the ball. We just played around with them. De Bruyne would have an opportunity to counter, but he would just pause it. He would just keep it slow. He was just controlling the game like he does. And then a really good move by Aguero and Sterling near the sort of mid to end of the game. They played some nice 1-2s, got in behind the line. Aguero took a shot and Leno saved it, but it bounced off the uprights and back to good old Phil Foden, who pumped it home for the third goal. So it ended 3-0. It was a really good performance by City. Piss poor, if I'm honest, by Arsenal. David Luiz didn't help anything.
I think he still plays for Chelsea in his heart.
Yeah, you know what? I thank him. I thank him for his performance, and I feel sorry for him at the same time. But dude, let's talk about this. So they swapped 2 defenders out. I'm thinking they only have 1 more substitution, and then later on in the game, 3 Okies come on. I didn't know about this.
Do you know how it works? Apparently there's like phases or batches of substitutions you can make.
I'm not sure at all, but there's 5 in total.
Yeah, you can do 5, but apparently if you miss, there's like a certain batch that you can do in the first half, which means it influences how many you can do in the second half. I'm not too sure. It's really crazy and a bit confusing.
So what's the reason for this?
Just because of the run of games that are going to come between now and the next season, because there's literally a 2-week break between the 2 seasons. So there's going to be so much football happening that they need to, in a way, give players a bit of a rest, I guess.
I hope that the players don't go out and party and have a proper holiday, because, I mean, they've kind of had an opportunity to rest. They should actually be just training and getting ready for the new season. Yeah.
It should be. But
that's interesting.
Did you see, you were talking about the empty head. Did you see the previous match at Sheffield's, I think it's Bramall Lane?
Yeah.
You can, apparently you can pay to have a cutout of yourself put onto one of the chairs in some of the stadiums. So at Sheffield United, you saw these random people sitting in the stadiums, but it was a cutout of
that's
fans,
crazy.
Pretty
that's
weird.
Quite cool.
Yeah,
that's quite cool.
We should maybe do that.
Well, oil money hungry City just covered up the seats with covers and advertising.
Also, they don't have enough fans to do it, but anyway.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. I was hoping they would call me up to get onto the Zoom call, because they clearly needed some caps, some fillers there.
That's true. Oh man,
would have been my claim to fame.
That's right,
dude. So just before we move on, there was one other incident that happened in the match.
Yes.
And that was good old Edison knocking the life out of Eric Garcia. Have you seen the clip?
I saw the clip just before we started this.
To those who haven't seen it, if you think American football is tough, if you think rugby is tough, you should watch
WWE is tough.
Yeah, you should watch good old Eddie take out poor Eric Garcia. Basically, the ball got clipped over the back line. Eric Garcia was running back full steam to defend it, and sweeper keeper Edison ran out in all of his brute force to punch the ball away, and punch the ball away he did, but also absolutely knocked the lights out of Eric Garcia. I saw a photo of Eric Garcia in the stretchers, and his face was covered in blood.
Really?
The poor Okie. He went to hospital and he's apparently okay, so that's good.
That was some hit, man.
Yeah,
it's like painful to watch.
There was 11 minutes of added time.
Really?
Yeah, it was really crazy.
Oh man,
the match went to 101 minutes.
Jeez. I didn't ask you when you were talking about Project Restart at the beginning, but do you think it's a good idea that the Premier League, I know we obviously being City and Chelsea fans, we wanted it to be cancelled so that obviously Liverpool cannot win the league. But are you glad it's back? Do you think it's the right thing to do?
I'm still in two minds. I mean, to be honest, obviously I was excited to watch them play again last night, but it kind of just sprung up on me. I was like, oh yeah, there's a City game. Whereas before I would like have it in my calendar and I'd be really excited. But yeah, I kind of in my mind just discarded the season because it's been such a crap one, you know. Liverpool are obviously going to win it, which sucks, but also the rest of the league hasn't really performed. We're 22 points off of the top and we're second. That's embarrassing. The whole league's been terrible. Yeah. You know, so yeah, I was definitely in two minds. I think if anything, you know what it's good for is a nice little pre-season like focus period to get ready for next season. And the one shining light is that we're halfway through a tie with Real Madrid in the Champions League. And we're on the up, so hopefully we can finish that off and maybe have a good go at the Champions League. That's like my like shining light for the season, the thing that I'm holding on to.
Let's shift into Champions League there for a second, because I was thinking about this today. Like, it can be quite unfair. This is what I'm thinking for teams that have played home. For teams who go away in the first leg and do pretty well, and then they come home for the second leg. So Bayern Munich, for instance, this would be a perfect example, right? So they come to Chelsea, absolutely dominate us 3-0. We have to go and play them in an empty venue, so it's pretty much a neutral ground.
Yeah.
Not going to say, I in no ways am I saying that we're going to win the match, because I don't think we will. And we're not going to. But let's say they came away with a 1-0 win at Stamford Bridge. Going into their second leg, they would be at a disadvantage. That's what I personally think.
Yeah, so technically we're at a disadvantage now with,
exactly.
We only beat them 2-1 at the Bernabeu. They could come beat us 2-0 at
you don't have that home ground advantage, the fans.
Yeah, that's a good point. I never thought about that. Yeah, that's like a training match for them.
Yeah, because when they made the rules, apparently now when they go into the quarterfinals, I think it'll
be in Portugal.
Single match, and it'll be single match knockout games, basically.
Oh, wow.
So I thought that extended to the games that were left over, and they were going to rule out the first match result, but it's not true.
That would have been a calamity. I would have been fuming at that.
No, I know.
I would have called it.
But you can see the argument, like with you guys, Real Madrid coming to you, playing away, but it's not really away because you don't have your home supporters.
Yeah, but
it's
then
going to be really hard.
But then to neutralize it, we'd have to do all the work again.
Yeah, you'd have to play it all over again. Yeah.
Yeah. Whereas now we still have that 2 away goal advantage.
That's true.
Yeah, that's super interesting.
Who do you think's gonna win the Champions League?
Man City.
and really, who do you? No.
well, you know what?
You got a chance.
I'm feeling confident to at least knock Real Madrid out, and if we do that pretty well, we don't sort of cock up the second leg, and we do it fairly convincingly with another good performance, then I think that'll be a good, like, sort of wind in the sails of the City players. You know, that'll give them confidence to knock out a big team like Real Madrid. You know, they've been emphatic in the Champions League of late, so I think that'll be a good boost for them. And I'd like to think that we've got a good run. Like let's just try, you know, and
yeah, like
yes, we've always been quite crap in the Champions League, but knocking Real Madrid out, you've got to say that we've got a chance to, you know, with the players that we have and with Pep. But it's tough, eh? Bayern are playing pretty good footy. You know, Atletico gave Liverpool a hiding.
Yeah.
So there's some big ones in it. Are Barca still in it? I think they are.
They are. Yeah.
You never know with
PSG,
Messi. Messi could do anything.
It's true.
It's tough, but you know what? To have Liverpool out.
They're out. Yes, they are. Oh my gosh, how could I forget that?
Dude, Atletico pumped them at Anfield.
Match. Yes, okay. Well, it's all coming back to me. I've been watching Chelsea reruns for the last 3 months. That's all the football I've had, so it's all a blur.
So anyway, and you know what? It could be our last Champions League for a while as well. So
that's true. Naughty boys.
Listen, don't act like your club is perfect, boyki.
Oh, we aren't perfect. I mean, we're perfect. Our owner's not perfect.
Yeah. Now, look, so that's going to be an interesting one. Hey, we should get the results from the hearing with Cass in early July. So City apparently hired the most expensive lawyers and went at it.
Of course.
Did the deliberations early June. I think it was like 2 or 3 days of battling it out in court. And we'll find out early July what the results of that is. It's going to be super interesting. You know what? I don't care about not playing in the Champions League as such. I care about losing key players because they want to play in the Champions League. That scares me.
It's got huge implications.
If someone like De Bruyne leaves, I will be gutted. I will be so gutted because he's in the prime of his career right now and he can't compete for Champions League. That's huge.
Yeah.
That's really huge. That will be such a calamity for the club, I think. He's like our most coveted player right now.
I heard they might cut it down. There's a possibility they might only give you 1 year ban instead of 2.
Okay, so a 1-year ban, that's a little bit more hopeful. And
players
we
might stick around then.
Yeah, we might keep the likes of De Bruyne and Bernardo Silva and those guys. Yeah, sheesh, it's a tough one. Fingers crossed.
Jeez, but you guys are still in the FA Cup because that also comes back.
That's true. We're still in the FA Cup and we won the League Cup. So, if we win a couple cups, could be a great season.
A treble on your hand there.
Yeah. That's true. What are you guys in?
Stick that to the Liverpool guys. We're still in the FA Cup, and that's pretty much. I mean, still Champions League, but that's definitely not going to happen. That's it. FA Cup is our only hope. But we play United? No, Leicester. I think we play Leicester. So that'll be tough. And then there's some good teams. I mean, United's still in, Arsenal's still in. What am I saying? Good teams. United's still in. You guys still in. It could be a City-Chelsea final, which would be great.
Yeah, that'd be a fun game. Nice. That makes some good content for this old party, yeah?
I know, exactly. We'd have something to talk about. But then, so this coming weekend, there's some big matches, actually. It's Spurs and United. I think that's Friday night. That, for me as a Chelsea fan, I am going to be looking hard at that game. Because if Spurs win it, I think they jump up to like 45 points, so they'll be on level with United. But if United win it, they would jump ahead of us on goal difference. So a draw would be great all around, just to keep the Spurs and United away. But who do you think is going to win that one?
That's tough. Spurs are at their stadium, their nice, pretty new stadium.
They got Kane back.
Jose playing his old team. Son's back from the army.
Yep.
Yeah, it could be a good one. Kane's in. Yeah, to be honest, I think everyone will say United because they've got Bruno Fernandes and Pogba back, and all those flippin' world class players.
Yeah.
But I'm kind of feeling Spurs for some reason. It's just like a weird gut feeling that I have.
Yeah. I would love a boring 0-0 draw.
Of course you would.
Great.
Of course you would. Well, with that being said, actually, it's highly likely. I mean, you're talking about Park the Bus Mourinho.
Yeah.
And Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, you never know what his team's going to produce. Sometimes they can smash like 4 in the back of the net, and sometimes they look like they can't even put 2 passes together.
It's true.
So that's going to be interesting. And then if we move on to Saturday, we've got Watford, Leicester. Not much to say about that. Brighton, Arsenal. No. Brighton will probably win there. West Ham, Wolves. Bournemouth, Crystal Palace. It's going to be interesting.
Yeah, not much. I think Sunday's a big day, huh?
Sunday's a pretty big day. You guys play Villa, but I would say more importantly, Liverpool play Everton. Now, thank you, City, for beating Arsenal last night, because it means that Liverpool can't win at the Merseyside derby. I'd love for Everton to just win one of those.
Oh, I know.
They never do, though, but we can only hope.
Won in years.
We can only hope. Speaking of Liverpool, by the way, I need to come back to them.
Yes.
So last night, while Eric Garcia was receiving attention from the doctors, Edison looked over to one of the players and just gave a smile, and he was like sort of joking around or laughing a little bit, like nothing crazy, but he had a smile on his face, right?
Yeah.
And Pep was taking the opportunity to do what he does and talk to some of the other players and give them tactics, right?
Yeah.
And there was a Liverpool article today on some Liverpool Herald or whatever, fan blog.
Yeah.
Which basically said, let me read the headline. I took a screenshot of it. Of course I did.
Am I going to puke?
It said this, in brackets, video. Guardiola and Edison's callous behavior after Eric Garcia incident is not something that would happen at Liverpool. And then they've literally got a picture of Edison just doing his cheeky smile while he was waiting for Eric Garcia. But like, someone made a really good point, another Man City fan on Twitter today. He was like, listen, they probably took him off because of precautionary reasons. But the docs would have probably said to him, listen, he's okay. It's not as bad as what it first looked. And he was moving his arms, he was lifting his legs up and down. So it's not like he, had lost complete control over his body or his legs or whatever. So the situation was bad, but it wasn't terrible. That article, that headline is absolutely embarrassing.
Oh,
I just find
Liverpool, bro.
I know. I just find it so funny how they managed to make a situation about them always.
I've got a friend, we've got a WhatsApp group, and when Liverpool won the Champions League, I think for pretty much like months on end, we would get multiple messages a day of like them lifting the cup and just going on and on. And it's just, to me, it's like, I actually got nothing against the players except Andy Robertson. I can't handle that guy. But like the players are actually, they seem decent. They're not, maybe Henderson's the other one, but it's the fans, bro. I cannot.
Yeah,
it's too much.
It's like overboard. A world-renowned thing that their fans are just so irritating. Sorry
to any Liverpool fans who are listening, but not sorry. I'm sorry. I'm just not.
I think it's kind of there's a silver lining here that we can't really socialize too much right now, because it means that the 55,000 Liverpool fans that I usually play soccer with every Monday night won't be able to rub it in my face once a week for the next 2 years, because we're not playing footy at the moment. So
yeah, do you know what the best thing is? I don't know if you've seen RB Salzburg. Have you seen that video of them lifting the cup, champions of Austria? So they cancelled their league and they gave the league to RB Salzburg, and they all got into the podium. And because of social distancing,
yeah.
So they all have to stand meters apart in these circles, and you know how there's this build up and they lift the trophy and they just all cling to each other and they go crazy. It was none of that. It was literally the captain holding the trophy, them jumping on a spot in a tiny little circle. It was just brilliant. You could see they hated every second of it. And that is what Liverpool are going to get. And I'm very excited about that.
And it was in an empty stadium, right?
In an empty stadium.
The same thing. Oof.
Thank you.
They're not going to get any of that cool footage of lifting the trophy.
There's never going to be an Aguero moment. None of that.
You know what they will do? You know what they will do? They will celebrate like halfway through next season when everyone's allowed back in the stadium.
Oh.
So it will be like a very old, like an outdated celebration. And let's just go to an island for those few months.
Yeah, it's true. I agree, bro. It's another thing. Sorry, you're talking about that article. It's like on Twitter when we just signed Timo Werner, obviously, but the way the Liverpool fans have gone on and on about, he's not even that good. He wouldn't even get into the Liverpool team. I'm like, are you serious? Like, you guys were just wanting him so bad for the last few months.
Yeah. Crazy. So the other fixtures this weekend, we obviously spoke about Everton, Liverpool. That's a big one. And the last one, City play Burnley again. I kind of feel a little bit bad for Arsenal because they just played us, and they have to play on Saturday again, whereas we're getting 2 extra days break.
Yeah,
which is quite nice. And then it's like thick and fast. Hey, Tuesday and Wednesday fixtures again next week. Thursday fixtures, Saturday, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. It's thick and fast. That's insane. It's going to be a crazy ride out till the end of the season.
Can I switch to something pretty cool, which I'm super excited about?
Obviously, bro.
It's the fact that we have signed Timo Werner. I cannot believe it.
And on that note, I'm going to call extra time.
Awesome. Extra time is end of the podcast. We just talk about some random stuff. And first thing first is we have signed Timo Werner.
Dude, that's an insane signing. You're going to have to fill me in because why on earth did he not go to Liverpool?
Well, I've just been doing a bit of reading about it. Obviously, the German connection's there, so Klopp has been talking to him for months. They've been doing Zoom meetings. It's pretty much like not a gentleman's agreement, but it was expected that he was going to Liverpool, and they were pretty not public about it, but the word got out and everyone was expecting it.
Yeah, I mean, I saw it everywhere.
Yeah, so his release clause was 45 million. And Liverpool, the club, the owners, didn't want to pay the release clause. They wanted to have it. So they spoke to RB Leipzig and said, can we sort out a deal to lower the transfer fee for this player? And RB Leipzig were obviously told them, no ways, go home. And that kind of kick-started it. And I think obviously when we saw that, we stepped in. Frank Lampard and Petr Cech took a flight to Germany just before the lockdown happened, and they met personally with Werner, told him about their plans. Chelsea have a 3-year plan in place. The first year is to stabilize the team. Second year is to start challenging for titles. Third year is to win titles. So that's basically the plan they put forward. Obviously, we've signed Hakim Ziyech, phenomenal right. Well, I mean, he can play most areas, but phenomenal winger. So Frank pushed this idea of like what Chelsea's going to be, just his idea of what he wants Chelsea to be, like this young attacking team that will challenge other European clubs, not just in England. And Timo Werner wasn't sure. This is another thing. He wasn't sure if he was going to get as much playing time in Liverpool, and understandably you got Salah, Mane and Firmino. In Chelsea, he's going to be on that team sheet every single week, first name on the sheet. So that was it. He was sold. He gave Liverpool a date and said, you need to let me know by this date, and they didn't say anything. So he's like, cool, screw you guys, heading to Chelsea to make some memories.
That's a crazy story. You guys have the knack for stealing transfers anyway. I mean, you did it to us with Jorginho, and
we did.
You've pulled some rabbits out of the hat, dude.
The best one. So I didn't know this because I mean I came late to the Chelsea party, if you want to say that. But John Obi Mikel, you remember Mikel?
Yeah.
So apparently, and I've read this up and it's absolutely hilarious, and people will probably know this, but he basically signed for Man United, everything bar putting his name to the paper. He had photos of him holding a United shirt with Mikel on it, official photos, and then he dumped them for Chelsea. I'm like, that is brilliant.
How do you go for your photo shoot?
I have no
idea.
And then
still leave the building without.
He's just a complete troll, Nigerian troll. I love him.
But there are some crazy stories. I mean, guys like quickly jumping off of the private plane that they were supposed to be on to get to their destination for their medical, and then they hop on another private plane, to go to the other club. Like, there's some crazy stories. It's quite fascinating, actually. So that's a great transfer. In terms of City, I have absolutely no idea who they're going to sign, because literally the name changes every 5 minutes. Yeah. It goes for like every name I read is a really like unknown guy or unknown to me, and those transfer rumors don't last very long. Yeah. The most recent rumor was a big name. I can't even remember who but I just remember thinking, flip, that's too good to be true. Like, that's not going to happen. But there's still this impending departure of Leroy Sané to Bayern Munich. Everyone's still talking about it, so we just don't know what's going to happen there. I'd be gutted to see him go because he's amazing, but if his heart's not in it, then so be it.
Yeah.
So not much transfer news from a City perspective.
I think it's also the current circumstances. Like, obviously teams just want to finish the league, and I think we're going to see a flurry of late transfers in that 2-week gap. But even then, there's like financial implications that have happened with clubs that they can't spend as much. Like United put out that they've lost millions and millions of pounds.
They're in so much debt, dude.
Yeah, so
it makes me happy.
Yeah, Liverpool, apparently I don't know if it's the club owner or someone very high up has said they're not making don't expect any star signings. So they've made their intentions really clear. And I think a lot of clubs are doing that. The only reason Chelsea have this money is because of our transfer ban, which happened last season. So we've stored up all this money. We sold Hazard in that time, Morata in that time, which is 150 million in itself between those two, as well as a year of not like coming under massive costs. So we're actually sitting in a very healthy position. That's why we're talking about going after Kai Havertz and all these big players.
I almost think that City might also be waiting to hear what happens with this hearing about the Champions League. You know, they might have to focus their attention on and their efforts on keeping star players rather than trying to sign new star players. You know, so instead of negotiating with new guys, negotiate with your current players who you don't want to see go. So I think it's an interesting time for City. I'm super interested to see how they handle themselves during this difficult time, to be honest. The good news for me, or the thing that I feel at peace about, is that Pep says he's definitely going to finish his contract out, which is one more year.
Oh, that's great.
So that'll mean that we'll still have him next year regardless of our UEFA situation. And I think that's huge. I think Pep still has a big pool in transfers, you know, so to have him there is only going to help keep players and bring players in. So we'll just have to see what happens. We've got about a month and then we'll know what the vibe is.
Sure. So what's your score predictions for this this coming week? And let's just talk Chelsea and City games. So the only ones is Aston Villa versus Chelsea and Man City versus Burnley.
Well, I think you guys will beat Aston Villa.
Yep.
I think they'll score, but I think you guys will get 3. So 3-1 to them.
3-1.
To you,
exactly the same score.
Wow. And then for City, we play Burnley at the Etihad. So
you're shooting your own team down. I love it.
Look. If we play like we did on Saturday, I can only see us scoring 3 or 4.
That'll be big.
Past Burnley. So yeah, I can only see us having a win. But you know what? This season's been so poor. Who knows? Anything's possible with both of those games.
I'm going 3-0 to you guys. And then for the Merseyside derby, I'd love Everton to pull off something, but I don't see it happening. I'm going for a 3-1 Liverpool win.
I'm going to go with my heart.
Come on, heart.
I'm going to go with my heart and say 1-0 to Everton.
Please let the spirit of that weird octopus be living in your heart. What was his name?
Dude,
Tom or whatever it was.
It would be so cool to just delay celebrations for as much as possible.
I know. Imagine just pushing them like every single week. Oh, man.
We're so salty.
I know. Well, let's do something fun quick. So if obviously it's inevitable that Liverpool will win the league, but let's say, and most likely next week they will win it. But if somehow you could come up with some crazy scenario where they don't win the league, what would it look like? Can I go first? I got an idea.
Go for it.
Okay, so I don't know who they're playing next week, but
I can tell you.
Okay, tell me quickly. Do you have it there?
Yeah, I've got it up. Next week they play. Oh, I just scrolled past it. Crystal Palace.
Oh, where?
Home.
Oh, even better. Okay, so it's going to go down like this, right? Crystal Palace versus Liverpool, and Salah scores the first goal in like the 4th minute, and Martin Tyler loses his nuts, and he just goes mental, and they pump those crowd sounds that they've got ready to just go mental because they're going to win the league, and they're talking about their history and 30 years for this, and Klopp is crying on the side, and then Wilfried Zaha scores an equalizer at the start of the second half, right? Mm-hmm. And then it becomes like one of those battles. There's like hard tackles going in, and there's like they have to pull people apart, and then just for the fun of it, Virgil van Dijk gets a red card and he gets sent off, and it looks like it's swinging in Palace's favour, and Liverpool are going to have to wait another week, and now the questions coming in are they going to win the league? Will this ever happen? And then as Palace are pushing up, it's 1-1. There's like 94th minute of 94 minutes, and who's their goalkeeper? What's his name? Alisson. He just pops one over, and Salah's onside, and he runs, and it's like 1-on-1 with the keeper, like everybody else behind him. Keeper runs out, Salah sidesteps, right? And then it happens. The big guy, Jesus Christ, he comes back. and he takes everyone away. And they get raptured, and it's done, and
the league is cancelled.
That's what I think, bro.
Mine is a lot more cynical and shorter.
Oh, yeah? Wow.
So just before the Palace game kicks off, good old Boris Johnson,
yeah,
forgets his specs at home and reads a report from the NHS completely incorrectly, and instead of seeing a massive decline in coronavirus cases, he sees the massive spike. He reads the numbers completely wrong. Yeah. And gets on an emergency conference call with the whole country and puts everyone into the most severe lockdown ever, and says that there will be no gatherings of more than one person.
Come on, bro.
Until 2021, and they are forced to cancel the league. So not as dramatic as yours, but
that's pretty dramatic.
Pretty creative though.
It is, yeah. I just hope one of those happened.
It's not going to though, but
it's
anyway.
It's inevitable. It's going to happen, and we're going to have to embrace it. Let's just get it done. Let's done, Liverpool.
Get it done. Yeah, let's just give them a little clap. That's it.
Well done. Yeah. Awesome.
All right, dude. Well, we've spoken enough about footy tonight.
That's right. It's a wrap.
That's a wrap. Bring on the games. Let's see the season out, and let's just start next season already.
Yeah, let's get it done. And go Chelsea.
Go City. Yay. I just want next season. I just want to start fresh. Can you tell? All right, guys. So on that note, if you enjoyed this podcast, please give it a like, share it with your friends, share it on social media, follow us on Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, all of the things, Twitter, and
our wives have given us a year for us to go viral. Otherwise, they're cutting us off. So please help us out.
Yeah, please help us out, please. And don't forget to subscribe to the podcast so that you get notified when we post a new episode. Right now, our plan is to post every 2 weeks, but of course, we'll try to bring you content when it's relevant and as soon as we can. On that note, peace out.
Peace out.